Hi guys, Freddie B here. It's Thursday. It is wild card weekend in the NFL. Week 19, Freddie Bz pathetic picks for the NFL. Hey, how you doing? I went 8-8 on the last weekend. Not my greatest effort, but 8-8. Still not a losing week for Freddie Bz with Freddie Bz pathetic picks in the NFL. So it's great to have you with us. Boy, what a week have we had. We've had coaches quit. We've had coaches fired. We've had coaches leave. We've had coaches retire. So there's going to be a lot of movement in the NFL coming into next season with coaching. And unfortunately, in Formula One, Gunter Steiner left Haas. And I think he got fired. I don't know. But anyway, Gene Haas and Gunter Steiner have parted ways also. So we'll see what happens with Haas F1 coming up with less than probably 6 weeks till preseason testing for Formula One. So that'll be very, very interesting. Lots of things going on in that sport also. So last week, as I said, 8-8. We've got games Saturday. We've got the Browns playing the Texans and the Dolphins, the greatest football team, playing the Chiefs. Here's what bothers me about that. The Browns and Texans are playing first, and they're on NBC. And it looks like the Dolphins are playing at 8 o'clock, only on Peacock. If that is true, that's a playoff game. Every other playoff game is on a network, and you've got to be a member of Peacock, which I'm not, for the Dolphins. So that's, obviously, for NFL. If you've got NFL, excuse me. I'm feeling a lot better, by the way. Thanks for asking. But still tired. If you have the NFL package, you're obviously going to get the game. But what about the average Joe Six-Pack, me, who doesn't have every freaking pay site in the world? I want to be able to see that game too. So I'm kind of hopeful that I'll be able to watch the Dolphins and Chiefs game. But let's take a look at Saturday's game anyway, despite what TV says. Okay. So the Browns are minus 2.5. I think they're a favorite. They're 11-6 against Texas. That's 10-7. And again, my prediction last week was got to win 10 in the AFC to get in, and sometimes with help. And Pittsburgh knows what I'm talking about. So they did win 10, and they got some help. And welcome to the wild card, Pittsburgh. So the Cleveland Browns, long time since they've been in the playoffs. 11-6, legitimately a very good team. Are playing Texas, which is 10-7. Interestingly, that they're playing in Texas because the Browns have a better record, but it's probably because of conferences. Don't know. Anyway, I believe it's because Cleveland's a wild card team and the Texans won their division. Anyway, I'm going to go with the Browns. I think the Browns are going to win this game, Scotty. I think you're going to be super happy with the outcome, and I think Cleveland at least goes one toe deep into the playoffs. And that first toe is beating the Texans, who beat Baltimore on a win and in last weekend to get into the playoffs. The Browns really had a chance to rest their players, and they did. Then we go to the Dolphins against the Chiefs. Chiefs, Super Bowl champions a couple years ago. Great quarterback. Really, really a good team. But if you've watched Freddie B's pathetic picks all out throughout the year, I said the Chiefs are a team that have already been to the top of the mountain, and they are now on the descent, I think. I think that they do not have the talent that they had 2 years ago. Not saying that they're not a talented team, because they are. They're in the playoffs, and they got great coaching and stuff. But they're going up against the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, who have the greatest football team. They take the ball from goal to goal. Never won an offense this year, by the way. Like no one's ever seen. They're in the air. Tyreek Hill. They're on the ground. Mostert, if he's back. They're always in control. When you say Miami, you talk to Super Bowl. We'll see what happens. But Miami first has to get past Kansas City in an extremely Kansas City-friendly Arrowhead Stadium. Kansas City, great football town. That place is going to be covered in red. It's going to be really hard to see a Dolphin jersey or whatever. Excuse me. See, still got it. But Dolphins 11-6, Chiefs 11-6. Dolphins are +4, and I believe now this is. I think the bookies have this at less than a point. That's an easy game. So if you give the home team a 3-point advantage, and they're down to less than a point, then the bookies are saying Dolphins are going to win. I think the Dolphins are going to win because I have to pick the Dolphins. As much as I love the Dolphins, and they've disappointed me the last 3 weeks, I got to pick the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are going to win the game. And I was humiliated with the Bills' loss, but give credit where credit's due. I've said Josh Allen's a great quarterback. Buffalo did a good job last week. They beat the Dolphins, and they're in the playoffs, and they are up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're at home, and I will tell you this is a great home game for the Buffalo Bills against the Pittsburgh Steelers, because if we are all lucky, folks, we're going to get a snow game. It's going to be just brutally cold. Buffalo loves that crap. It's going to be great, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go in there, and they're going to need their terrible blankets to wrap themselves up because it's going to be freezing cold. And I'm going to also say they're going to need it to cry in, those towels, because I believe Buffalo's going to win that game. And they may go deep into these playoffs. So I'm going to take the Bills over the Steelers. For even though the Bills are probably Miami's most hated rivalry, but it's a great rivalry and it's a friendly rivalry. And Jim Kelly and Dan Marino are like really good friends. So even though they played football against each other and our fans hate each other, it's a pretty good, great rivalry. Anyway, I'll take the Bills in that one against the Steelers. Then we go to the Packers against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are our favorite there, and they should be. And the Packers kind of limped in, but they did get into the playoffs, and God bless them. And the Cowboys are just going to destroy them. And if the Cowboys win by 3. That's going to be my definition of destroying them. But I believe they're going to beat the Packers. They're going to beat them there at home. And it's going to be a good day for Dallas. Then we go to the Lions, which had a tremendous season. And they are hosting the Los Angeles Rams. Okay? The Rams of Los Angeles. Which, I'll tell you what. At the beginning of the season, I knew the Rams were okay. And I knew they had played in a Super Bowl a couple of years ago. But I thought they kind of fell off the face of the earth, and they did. They still held themselves up. And I will say it's an East Coast bias. Sorry, West Coasties, but if you live in the East Coast, you kind of forget about those teams sometimes out in the West Coast that are just kind of hanging there under the radar. And LA was one of those teams that just kind of hung under the radar all year long, snuck themselves into the playoffs, and they're going to play the Lions in Detroit. They're going to go up there, and they're going to get murdered. Ha! Just kidding. They're not in Chicago. They're going to go up to Detroit, don't get mugged. Ha! There you go. The Lions are going to beat the Rams, okay? And it should be, because Lions are king of the jungle anyway, and Rams are like, they're anyway. So, they're like sheep with horns. Let's face it. They're sheep. They got horns. All right. Lions have big team. Lions are going to win. So Lions are going to go there. And then we go to Monday night. Eagles come down to Tampa Bay. Now, would you ever have thought of this? Let's go back 6 games. Would you have thought of the Eagles playing the Buccaneers at Tampa Bay in a playoff game? No. 6 games ago, everybody said, how many people will have to run through Philadelphia before Philadelphia goes to the Super Bowl? So there's a team that, unfortunately, has really, boom, they have sucked. It may be injuries, it may be a plethora, or panoply, if you will, of things, but chances are they're just not playing very well. And they're playing the Buccaneers, who kind of limped their way into the playoffs also. I mean, if I had a suck list of teams that suck that are in the playoffs, the Bucs would be on the suck list, probably along with maybe the Steelers, and I hate to say this, maybe the Dolphins. Okay? Probably the 3 weakest teams playing this weekend based on their last 5 weeks of football. Okay? But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hope the Bucs win, and I'm gonna pick the Bucs, even though the Eagles are a favorite coming into Tampa Bay. I'm going to pick the Buccaneers because I'm kind of a homeboy, and they're my local team, just an hour up the road. So I'm going to pick that. So there are a lot of people going, what's going to happen with Harbaugh with Michigan? He's going to have a bunch of people knocking on his door, probably every NFL team. He may want to come back into the NFL, and I'll tell you where he might go, but Freddie Bz's opinion, pathetic picks, once again, these are, he may go to the Washington Redskins / Commanders. Why? His brother's right up the street. They live within an hour of each other. I'm sure they talk every day strategically, and they don't have to worry about really playing each other because one is in the AFC and one is in the NFC. So they can keep that brotherly love going until they meet in the Super Bowl, or, you're going to have that interconference play. But, their brothers are going to get over it. I mean, my brother doesn't get over it, but I'm over it already. Anyway, so there you have it. Freddie Bz's pathetic picks for the wild card. We'll look forward to seeing how well we did. Remember, 8-8 on the last week of the season. We got to do something about making sure Miami's just not on Peacock, but they're on NBC. I hope you have a wonderful week. It's going to be a great playoff season, and I will see you here next week with more picks on Freddie Bz's pathetic picks. Do me a favor, by the way. If you did, hit a like, maybe subscribe. I'd love to have 15 subscribers. It'd be great. It'd be great to have you as one of them. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.